Welcome to another episode of the Young Pro Show. We bring you powerful conversations from incredible human beings all over the world. On today's episode, we have our friend Abhi. Abhi, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Abhi is a 19-year-old entrepreneur, and he is currently starting the first virtual reality arcade space in New York City. And some exciting stuff for you, Abhi. You had an internship with Gary Vee this summer. Is that right?
Yeah, I got an internship with Gary Vee. I just was at a conference in Toronto, and I asked him. I was like in front of the audience. There was a Q&A session. I went up and I asked him, "Hey, can I intern with you?" He said, "Yeah."
Cool. That's some fun. And so you said this in front of like the entire crowd?
Yeah, the entire audience. I was standing up there. My heart was beating out of my chest, and I was like, "I missed an internship fair to be here today. If you're looking for employee number 706, I'm available." That's exactly what I said. And he was taking a picture with someone on stage. And after he took the picture, he came up and, he answered. He's like, "Did you just ask for an internship?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "You got it." And I was like, "That's crazy."
Employee number 706. Did you count the amount of employees that he had before? Did you look it up?
No, actually, the previous question before I asked, he said that he had 705 employees.
Good timing.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
And I was there for this. I saw it live. I saw Abhi ask the question and saw Vaynerchuk say, "You got it."
That's video too.
Guys, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and do things that make you feel uncomfortable and make your heart race, because you can get an internship with Gary Vee if you do.
Absolutely. If there's anything that I learned from that, it was the fact that it really does come down to asking and having the ability to actually do that. Because when you're standing in front of a crowd like that, I was like, I can ask him either on how to raise money or how do I grow my business to the next level, whatever. But he's so prolific. His content is out there. He probably answered that question 1,000 times. I could probably Google it. So how do I maximize my time in that moment? And the way I saw of doing that was to really just asking for an internship, because why wouldn't I? That's how I saw it.
Yeah, 100%, man. Why wouldn't you? And it worked.
Yeah.
Do you know what you're going to be doing with the internship?
Yeah. So I was talking to their onboarding team, and I'll most likely be working on a virtual reality project within the company. So looking forward to that.
Nice. Matt, that's funny. Didn't you say that somebody went up to Gary Vee and asked if they should be doing virtual reality, and he said no, but then they have a project that they're working on at their company?
It was Jamal.
Right, yeah, it was Jamal.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't pour all his attention to that because it's so far away.
Right.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a full-time, it's they're working on projects with companies that they're working with. So
oh, cool.
I don't know the details on it, but
So did you go to his office to speak to them to get the internship ready?
No, what happened was the day after, I just emailed him. He responded, and he connected me with his internship onboarding people. I talked to them, and they pretty much said that that's an opportunity that we could fit you in. But really, right now, I'm really pushing to be one of his assistants, because I don't really want to just be an intern there. I want to be an assistant to him. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but looking forward to that if that can.
Well, it's time to ask another question, I guess.
I did. He hasn't responded yet.
Ask it again and again and again until you get your answer.
Yeah, man.
That's a plan.
Yeah, you already got one step in the door. Might as well get the other step too.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't want to push it to the point where they're just like, "Okay, we don't want you anymore."
So, funny story. We had this 17-year-old come on the show just a couple of days ago, and he was sharing this story about how he broke into Gary Vee's office.
I know him, Daniel, right?
Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, you know him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you meet him at the conference too?
Yeah.
Archangel Summit, bringing people together in the Young Pro Show.
Yeah.
So, Abhi, why don't you just tell us what made you want to start becoming an entrepreneur to begin with?
So, ever since high school, I really wanted to be a doctor. I was like, I want to help people. I want to change the world. I want to bring all these amazing things. I want to fix things up. And I just want to help people get better. And freshman year, I was a pre-med major, took chemistry, took biology, took all the courses, and I was doing pretty well. I had a 3.5 GPA at the end of my freshman year. And for a pre-med major, that's not terrible. And I was like,
my ass in school.
Is this better than me?
Is this really something that I want to do? And I really questioned that. I was like, do I really enjoy doing this? And is this the best way that I can give back to the world. So one of the biggest things was this past summer, I asked a few of my friends, I was like, how do you make the decision of what you want to do with your life? And they told me that you want to look at what you want to, like where you want to be in the future. And then you want to reverse engineer your life from that. So he said that, for example, you want to see what lifestyle you want to live. If you want to go to your kid's baseball game, then you don't want to be a neurosurgeon that's always on call. And that's a lifestyle choice that you have to make now in order to strive for that career for later on. And that's how people mess up. He told me that that's how people mess up and end up in places that they don't want to be because they never really assessed what they wanted to do in the future. And I really did that. And I was like, do I really want to be a doctor? I don't know. I like the lifestyle. It's a 9-to-5 job and you're doing some amazing things. But then it occurred to me that why do I want to become a doctor? This is one of the hardest questions that anyone that wants to become a doctor faces. And what it really came down to was I wanted to become a doctor to help people, but that wasn't a good enough reason. Because if I just wanted to help people, I could do anything. The very reason someone's job exists is to help someone else, kind of, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And when I thought about it, I was like, I stepped back and I was like, how do I help more people than I ever could as a doctor? And I was like, as an exceptional entrepreneur. I realized that I'd much rather be an exceptional entrepreneur than an above average doctor because I'd reach many more people and impact many more lives as an exceptional entrepreneur.
Good answer, man.
I
like that you said you were told to look at who you wanted to be and then reverse engineer that. Because the truth is that most people are focusing on what they want to do and their mind is limited on what they want to do, right? It's when you really look at who you want to become that you can start to really have that answer of what you want to step into with your life and then reverse engineering that to figure it out. So that's sweet, man. So was it virtual reality right away when you decided to, have we talked about that yet or did we talk about that before the call?
No, we didn't.
Okay, sweet. So let's talk about that then, man. You're currently working on a virtual reality venture out in New York City, right?
Yes. So the story, like you said before, right? It's like looking at your future self and then reverse engineering it. So then I made my own version of that. I was like, in order to implement this in everyone's lives, this is what I tell them. I tell them, look at your past self and then look at your future self and use your present self to get you there. And that's really that was an epiphany that I had recently. And I've been sharing it with all my friends at college because it's such an important lesson. And what really happened over the summer was, okay, now I figured out that I want to do entrepreneurship. I want to start a business. And after that, I was like, okay, what do I do? How do I do it? And I was like, I need to learn how to code because if I don't know how to code, then I can't do anything. So I was going to go to a coding boot camp to learn how to code. And then randomly this application on the Rutgers Entrepreneurship Society, my university's entrepreneurship society, popped up. And it was basically an opportunity to live with an entrepreneur and work with them and build a business with them. And I applied. It took me a 2-hour application. I interviewed him and I went out and lived with him for 3 months and we built a digital marketing company. And in the same co-working space I was working with, there was a team working on virtual reality. I liked the team. I worked with them for 2 weeks, but then I realized it wasn't the right team for me. And then I built a new team in New York City and here I am launching New York City's first virtual reality arcade.
Damn. Yeah. You were living with a group of guys in a house and all you guys were hustling on different businesses?
No. We were building the same business. So essentially one of the biggest things that I realized in my life is that if you truly want to do something is that you need to immerse yourself in whatever you do. So I was like, I want to do pre-med. I want to become a doctor. So I went and became an EMT. So I rode around in ambulances. I'm like, how do I see patients? That's how I see patients. I wanted to do business, so I went and worked at a startup. Where else will you learn what a business is at its core other than a startup? And essentially, that application opened up an opportunity to work with an exceptional entrepreneur who's opened up 4 businesses. And this was his 5th business. And we essentially lived together, worked together, and just ate together, everything. Like it was just like we built a business.
You're living with one of these guys?
No, 5.
5 of these guys. Okay, that's badass.
Yeah.
Sick.
We recorded videos from that too.
You have some videos from that? Where can I check them out?
School of Hidden Knowledge. That's what it's called.
School of Hidden Knowledge so that's like the organization that that you had to apply to get into this.
No, it wasn't an organization. It was just this guy. His roommates were all moving out of his apartment. He didn't want to live alone.
Oh.
So he just opened up this application for people to build business with him.
So, sorry about that.
No worries.
That's good hustle on that guy for deciding to open up his house.
Yeah. We lived with him in his apartment, and I lived in the living room with the roommate on the couch for 3 months.
Wait, so you had to do a 2-hour application for this guy's apartment?
Yeah.
Wow, he put up the bar high.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Damn, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
What do you think you learned most from being there with them?
Entrepreneurship isn't fair. It's not fair in any way.
Ooh, good answer.
If you look for fairness, then don't go to entrepreneurship and don't build your own business, because I worked 18 hours every single day. I wasn't we weren't making money, so I wasn't making money off of it. And at the end of 3 months, we had about 2 clients, and we were about to break even, and we realized we pretty much failed. Like all that work, about 5,000 hours of work, combined, I don't know. We probably did a lot of work. We worked for 3 months, 18 hours a day. So someone could do the math, and it probably would add up to a pretty decent amount. And we didn't succeed. We failed. And that's really not fair, because at the end of the day, someone had to account for all the money that we used in the business. And one of the last things that he told me on the last day to our group was that, yeah, we did all this amazing stuff. We learned some amazing things. We got great footage out of it, but did we make money? And we didn't. So it depends on what you count as failure and what you count as winning. And it's at that day I hit rock bottom. I was like, wow, all that work and we didn't succeed.
Did you guys shut the business down?
No, we didn't shut the business down. We just dropped the initiative, and I stopped working with them because I went on to the virtual reality business. But he just started with another initiative.
Okay.
And yeah, so he just kept continuing because he had other companies and things like that. This was just something he wanted to try.
So entrepreneurship isn't fair, but it teaches you a lot of lessons, though.
Yeah, absolutely. You really learn with entrepreneurship. Some of the biggest lessons that I learned over the summer was that you can't be afraid to do anything. Making cold calls was one of the hardest things that I ever did. Here you're calling, think about the mindset when you're making a cold call. You're calling someone that doesn't want you to call them. That's probably going to hang up on you when you call them. And your goal is to call them and make them listen to you. How do you do that?
They don't know you. They don't like you. They don't trust you. There's no relationship there.
Exactly. So you have 30 seconds to build trust with this person. And after you hit those 30 seconds, the person's either going to hang up on you, or you might move to the next step. And once you move to the next step, now you have to convince them to buy into your services.
Yeah, because chances are, even if they're moving on to the next step, they still really don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it's even getting to the decision maker in a business is the difficult thing, right? So I spent so much time buttering up secretaries and assistants, and I was just hey, can you please transfer the call to Dave? And I call them every week, and I'd never get to Dave, and it's just I'm not getting to Dave.
Lisa, give me Dave.
Yeah, exactly, right? Joanne, let me talk to Dave. It just never worked out, and
man, I would have talked to you.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And
I wouldn't know that you passed him.
And it was just cold calling it taught me you have to listen to 100 no's before you hear that one yes, right? And that's a metaphor for entrepreneurship. Everyone's going to shit on your idea, and then they're going to be like, okay, maybe someone sees and someone believes in you. And that really comes down to one of my core beliefs after this summer was that some of the truest words that anyone can ever tell you are that they believe in you, especially as an entrepreneur and as a human being. Because fundamentally, people want to be seen and heard. I don't know if you guys heard about the research campaign that one major company did, and it was what subject line will open the most?
You are not alone.
Yeah, you are not alone. And that's incredible. people just want to be seen and heard. And I was just like, that was just an incredible experience in learning that lesson.
So have you had someone that looked at you and said that they believed in you?
Yeah, I have. My mentor, Zan Kim, he's the person that I started the first business with. He told me he believes in me, and Matthew did too. So we talked right after the Archangel Summit, and he actually told me that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, man, now that I'm thinking about it, it's, you know, some of the most profound moments for me were when people have said that stuff to me. Matt says it to me all the time. And every time he does, it always feels good to know that other people are here with us and other people are supporting us to continue going. Because it's true, man. Like, this is especially as an entrepreneur, like, it's a lonely fucking journey. And we want to make it, like, to have other people that are there with us that are actually, like, supporting us and wanting to push us forward is a good feeling.
It's lonely and it's a struggle, and you're not making money, and you're battling against all the forces that are supposed to be against you, who at one time you thought they're going to be cheering for you to help you out, and you soon discover that since they don't think the same way you are, they're often turning their back on you or putting you down or laughing at your ideas. You know, there's such a cliche, I guess is the word for it, that, you know, when people achieve great success in entrepreneurship, there's often that mentality of this just happened overnight, and of course he got lucky, or, you know, those words. But at the end of the day, it's none of that shit. It's hours and hours and hours of dedication, nonstop, doing work when other people are out partying and having fun. It's sacrificing weekends, sacrificing time with family, putting things on hold that you want to do until a later date, and just getting yourself around by surviving on whatever you can figure out how to eat with, and you know, saving your pennies wherever they come in from, because it's a tough journey, but the rewards for it are incredible if you're just willing to put in that extra work and have those patience.
Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of people are entrepreneurs in their own way. So, like, as an entrepreneur, you're going against Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, everything that Maslow said in his hierarchy of needs, you're going against. You're going against like physical needs for food.
Like, let's turn it upside down.
Exactly. That's what entrepreneurship should be. Like, if there's any diagram that represents entrepreneurship, is Maslow's hierarchy of needs upside down.
That's good, man. That's good.
And over this past weekend, I had this incredible experience. I met this girl. She's 18 years old. She's currently in film school. She told me her senior year of high school, her parents kicked her out of her house because she didn't want to do nursing, and said she wanted to pursue film and photography. So she was working 3 jobs and doing freelance work on the side. And she paid off her first year of college working the 3 jobs and with her freelance work. And she bought herself a car. And she was telling me, she's like, my biggest worry at the end of every week is whether I'm going to be able to afford like the bill at the end of the month for my living space, and whether I'm going to be able to pay off tuition. And I was just like, you're 18.
3 jobs.
And I was just like, you're 18. Like, this is what you do every single day, and that's what you strive for. And she's like, the only reason that I do this every single day is because I love photography and I really want to be behind that camera. And I really wish I could do it all the time. And if me doing this right now means that I can afford to be behind that camera tomorrow, then why not?
That's powerful, man.
Yeah.
And I was just so blown away. Yeah, she's not building a business. Yeah, she's not like aiming to be the next Mark Zuckerberg, but she's aiming to be behind that camera tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
She's aiming to be the best her that she can be in a passion that she has and holds dear to her heart. Absolutely.
And on a college campus, you don't see a lot of that. A lot of kids are doing things that they don't like, doing things because Forbes tells them that these are the top 20 majors that make the most money at the end of college. And they think that, oh, maybe getting a comp sci degree or maybe becoming a doctor is the way to a successful and a stable lifestyle. But is it really, though? If you're doing something you don't love and you end up in a position 10 years from now where you hate every single day when you're going to work, is that really something that was worth doing now?
Yeah.
And it really goes back to the point that I made earlier. It's like, where do you want to be in the future, and then reverse engineering.
I love that about where you want to be in the future. And for 2 reasons, or in two different ways, I guess. One is, figuring out what you want to be, but also understanding how you want your lifestyle to be, right? Because who you want to be and who you need to be in order to make something happen can sometimes be very different than how you want your lifestyle to look. And, the understanding that you can create time freedom for yourself to have and do and be the man you want, but that comes with a certain amount of leverage, right? A concept that allows you to create that free time based on having machines at work, money at work, people at work for you, right? But as an entrepreneur, you also have to understand that people aren't just going to work for you if you're not working, right? Or you're not going to have your money at work for you if you don't have money coming in. So figuring out ways to be able to have money working for you while you don't have a whole lot of money right now, or figuring out ways how to have machines working for you so you can get to a point where you can have some people working for you and some money working for you to create that lifestyle in 20 years where you have absolute time freedom, you have absolute unlimited ability with your money. That takes a certain understanding of how to get to that place. And that leverage concept is something that no one ever really talks about, right? Most people today trade their time for money, right? They work an 8-hour day, a 9-hour day, whatever that is, and they get paid based on that work. The true wealth or the true freedom comes from creating a state where you can get more done in that same 8-hour day based on having some leverage, either from money, machines, or people, right? And figuring out how to get yourself there can give you that freedom. And it's something that's very important to understand, and something that's important when you're planning out how do you want your lifestyle to be. Not only who do you want to be, but how do you want your lifestyle to be, and understanding that you have to have that plan for both of those in order to make sure you achieve them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really what my mindset was going into entrepreneurship, and finding that it's a combination of that and also finding yourself. So recently I've been running this experiment, and the experiment was really just to go around and ask people, who knows you the best? And when I would ask them this question, they would think for a minute, and then they would say, oh, Kayla, my best friend. And I'd be like, so you're saying that you don't know yourself the best? And then when I say that, they're like mind blown. They're like, what? Did you just say that I don't know myself? Mm-hmm. And then they think about it for a minute, and they're like, I don't. Mm-hmm. Think about how crazy that is. You live with this one person every single day, like with yourself. You live with yourself every day. You spend so much time with yourself, and yet you barely know anything about yourself. And it's really that honing in that concept of self-awareness and figuring out who you are and how you could be the best version of yourself every single day. And not many people really think that. And it's also a fact about, you should do what you love, but in order to get to a place where you can do something you love, you're going to have to do a lot of things that you hate. Yeah. And for example, with my videographer friend, she's working 3 jobs right now, and she's working at a car dealership, and she hates it. She's a salesperson at a car dealership. And she's like, I absolutely hate it. That is not remotely related to anything that I want to do with my life. But I have to do it because
unless she started taking pictures of the cars she's selling.
Yeah, there we go.
Use that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's also about when you're there, how you cater to you and how you make it the best for yourself. But I'm just so incredibly blown away when people don't think about who they are, how they can build themselves up to be the best and figure out themselves. Yeah. And I think it's a very hard journey to go on. And I'm not saying I have it all figured out. I'm figuring myself out every single day, but it's just getting in that mindset and actually starting to think about it.
What are some of the things you do to help you get to know who you are?
A lot of reflection, journaling. So I started journaling about a month ago, and I journal who I'm grateful for, what I'm grateful for. I keep a log of every meeting, and I see what I learned from that meeting. I keep a log of everyone that I meet and how they've impacted my life. And at the end of every day, I log all the emotions and how I manage my energy every day. So I have this crazy theory. I don't know if it exists or I made this up in my own mind or whatever, but when you think about time management, no one ever tells you, I feel like it's not efficient. I feel like if you manage your energy, then by virtue of that, and if you have a lot of positive energy, you'll manage your time more positively. And if you can do that, then you're pretty much setting yourself up for growth. And not many people really dig that extra step in learning that, like energy management. Like, what is that, right? And to me, it's like just being positive and having that outlook. Like, no matter what exam I go into, even if I know I didn't study, I still go into it like I'm going to get 100. And if I think I will, then I might.
So what actions do you take to manage your energy? Give me some clarity on that.
Yeah. So in order to manage my energy every day, I make sure I surround myself with amazing, high achieving individuals. And I make sure that I'm giving back as much as I can. And I really feed off of others' energy and energy that I create for myself. So it's like every morning you wake up, you think of the things that you're grateful for. And once you realize what you're grateful for, you're already in a good mindset, because you're like, wow, all these things made me who I am. And this is where I am because of these people and these things. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you go in. I usually take a cold shower. My mentor taught me this. He's like, when you take a cold shower, you're basically hitting your biggest fear early in the morning.
Yeah.
And you wake up when you take that cold shower.
Yeah.
And then
shock your system.
Yeah, exactly. And then after taking that cold shower, I go and meditate for about 20 minutes, have that time to myself. And I either read or journal. And really taking apart some time for myself has been crucial in really managing all the crazy things that happen on an everyday basis.
I like that idea of taking the cold shower as soon as you wake up and facing one of your biggest fears. That's a cool concept.
Yeah, it's scary. Like every morning when I wake up, like I don't want to, like I want hot water, but like I just don't do it because that cold shower is really what wakes me up.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make me. I did that for a little bit, and then I guess I got too much fear. So I'm not going to face that fear. I'll do it tomorrow morning, Abby, and I'll let you know how it goes.
It's rough, but like once you hit like 20 days, you get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The habit. 22 days, I think it is, and habits built.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also about valuing time, right? So one of the biggest things that when I do my journal, or like, I don't know if this is a networking tip, but this is just something I do, is whenever I meet someone new, or I spend time with someone, or I have the ability to talk to someone in a meeting or whatever every day, at the end of the day, I message them and I tell them, hey, I truly appreciated your time, and thank you for having a meeting with me, or like, thank you for being there. Because a lot of people tend to forget that in this moment right now, think about it, it's just you, David, Matt, and I. And the three of us are talking. And that is incredible, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we need to be here and be present. It's really having that level of presence. And I've learned some incredible things as an EMT about time. Because when you're in the back of the ambulance, you see some crazy things. And you really appreciate, when you see someone like die in front of you, you really start to appreciate time a lot more.
Or rush into the hospital to save their life.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Like one of the stories that I could tell is that my third call as an EMT, I was in the back of the ambulance, and we got a call for a guy who got into an accident. He got T-boned, and he lost about 2 liters of blood, and there was skin out of his head, like flapping out. I was holding the skin. I was holding pressure to the wound. We got him in the ambulance. We had to call the medic unit, which is above us, just to make sure that he would stay alive until we got to the hospital. And right before we hit the ramp to get off the freeway in order to get to the hospital, he died. And before he died, the story gets better, I promise. Before he died, he said that, I want to call my wife. He asked me if I could give him his phone. And I said no, because I was holding pressure. There were a lot of things going on. And when he died, I was like, I didn't let him call his wife when he wanted to. And luckily we did CPR and we saved him after 13 thrusts.
Wow.
And as soon as he got back up, I said, yeah, you can call your wife. And then we rushed him into the hospital and we turned him over to the doctors. But I was just like, in that moment, that guy was gone. And that's crazy. Those 13 seconds were like, I felt like everything fell apart in those 13 seconds because I didn't let him call his wife.
Damn.
It really gives you an appreciation. It really gives you an appreciation for time. And I really value people's time. And not many people really appreciate that enough.
Yeah. And I think, man, to what you were saying before about self-awareness, if you really don't know who you are and you don't know what your place is in this world, you begin to value your time less, right? When you don't recognize your place, you don't look at this life as this gift that you only have a certain amount of time that you're going to be living in, a certain amount of time to do really anything that you want to. But if you're not diving within, how the fuck do you know what you want to be doing?
You don't.
You don't. You're 100% spot on. Self-awareness, in my opinion, is one of the most important things that anybody could do for themselves. Just asking questions is just so important too. Like, look within yourself, ask yourself questions, journal, like you said, write a list of questions about you and answer them. You know, I remember doing this for the first time, how hard it was for me to actually answer the questions the first time. And then the more you do it, the more you repeat the process, and the more you ask these questions to yourself, the more you begin to recognize who you are, the more you begin to know your place, the more you begin to value the time that you have on this planet, man. So yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah. And once you realize that who you are, then you can determine what you can give back. And that's where it gets fun, right? Because one of the quotes that we read, that I came across at the Archangel Summit, is the purpose of life is not to find your gift, it's to give it away.
Right.
And once you really find your gift, it's like, how do you give it away? And that's where it gets exciting. That's where you get that, like, all that positive energy. And every day you strive to do something more to give away even more. And that's why I'm starting a blog, Amplify Positivity. And it's based around that. It's just giving away all these incredible lessons that I've learned so far. And like, I feel like I truly believe that so many people have incredible stories to tell, and they don't tell them because they're never given the voice to. And they genuinely just don't have the time or think anyone will care. For example, that videographer, she told me her story because I went to her. She's not on Facebook. She doesn't have the time for Facebook. She's too busy hustling. So who's going to tell her story? And there's so much to learn from her. And like, I just thought that was a great way of just giving back. And that's my way of giving back through that blog and amplifying positivity.
Nice, man.
So on that blog, are you featuring stories of other people?
Yeah, it's similar to Humans of New York. So once I stop sharing like lessons and stories that I've learned, I'll start sharing stories of others. People on college campuses, professors, students, all these amazing people. A lot of people overlook the youth. Like, it's like, a lot of people don't realize, it's like, oh, what does that college kid that's in college have to worry about? He has to worry about those midterm exams, tuition, and he has to worry about his 2 jobs that he's probably doing on the side to afford tuition.
And his apartment and food. Yeah,
exactly. Like, there is a lot to worry about. And there are some amazing things that college students do every single day in order to get that college education and in order to set themselves up to be the best they can be in the future.
Yeah. And man, truthfully, the reality is sometimes it's one of the hardest parts of your life, because it's really when you're starting to question who you are. And we've kind of been put into this system where we've forgotten really what we enjoy doing. So it's like this period where we're like getting more and more and more lost. And we're like getting deeper into this hole of not knowing who we are. And if we don't step back, it's a hard fucking place to be when the people around you when you're like, I don't really want to be around these people, or I don't really want to be doing this class, but you've been put in this environment. So honestly, it's a fucking hard place to be.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, think about it. In high school and in middle school, you're pretty much told, hey, when you're a little kid, when someone asked you, what do you want to be when you grow up? What did you say?
Professional hockey player.
Okay, you said professional hockey player.
I said astronaut.
You said astronaut, right? So typically, like I said, I want to be a pilot. So at that point in your life, you only know what the outside world has told you and what they portray. And the outside world has portrayed that being a pilot, an astronaut, a professional hockey player, or maybe a news anchor is the best way to live life. And growing up, you start to strive for these things that the world has told you to strive for. And you never realize, and then you get to college and all of a sudden you realize that, hey, maybe my skill sets don't match that of becoming a doctor or that of becoming an astronaut. And maybe I don't want to do that. And maybe that's not what I want to do. And then you're still in this very narrow mindset that those are the only things that will actually help me get to success, right? And it's like, no, it's not. In an ever-changing, technologically innovating society, there are new job titles that are being created every single day. Last week, I met an information architect. did you know that was a title? Like,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, that's a thing, right? Like, you can literally, like, if you build yourself up to be the best person that you possibly can, and you really know who you are and what you can do, then doors will open and opportunities will open and people will notice, and you'll find something that you really like doing and that you can do.
You know what came to my head when you started talking about that was the fact that there's going to be so many people in the very near future who are no longer going to have a job because of being displaced by technology, being laid off by technology. And so many of those people are going to bitch and complain, whine about where they're at, complain about not having the job and being laid off, and not realizing at the same time that that just created an incredible opportunity for them to discover something new about themselves and go create, as opposed to stay stuck in that place of negativity. Like we're about to have roughly 50% of all the current jobs gone.
Yeah.
Technology's going to take over and replace doctors. We already got machines performing operations. It's going to happen. Lawyers will be replaced. Yeah. Like all kinds of things that we never thought would go away are going to disappear. And that creates remarkable opportunity for that person in that position within our current economic system and our technology and evolutionary driven model that we live in right now. Incredible opportunity for those people to create new stuff for themselves.
Yeah. And that's what really entrepreneurship teaches you, right?
Yeah.
Like we're about to have a massive upgrade in society. Like we're going, like the Industrial Revolution happened a few years ago.
Decades.
And decades ago. And we're going to have the technological revolution. And people won't necessarily realize that because not many people have that entrepreneurial mindset of growing. And it's really that growth mindset. It's like, oh, maybe this isn't working out. So how do I make it work out to my benefit? And how do I benefit something else by doing that? And you're absolutely right. Like, for example, my dad is a truck driver, and like there's self-driving trucks that are coming out.
Yep.
Right. So like, what is he going to do after that? Well, hopefully he'll be retired by then. But like it's incredible, right? He could go manage a truck that's being self-driven and go into the IT field for it. Yeah. But it's really having that ability to step back, look, and reevaluate. Yeah. And really reflect on oneself. Like it's so crucial and important.
Yeah, man. That's an interesting thought. Like imagine today, all of these jobs that are now going into technological advancement where all these people are going to get fired. Imagine all of that happening one day. How many of these employees or how many of these people now with nothing else to do are in their headspace thinking, wow, okay, now I can actually go do what I want to do. Or now I can go do this or that or that. Like what's going on in these heads? Sure as hell, it's probably not, I'm going to go now spend my life doing everything that I want to do. It's, holy fuck, I got fired. I'm screwed. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have to eat. But that's really interesting because that's an opportunity over a disadvantage. And I think that's what you were saying with this whole idea of an entrepreneur mindset. Really, it should just be the mindset where something happens to you, and although it may be perceived as negative, you realize that you have the ability to take this thing that seemed and perceived to be negative and turn it into something that's absolutely incredible. Getting fired from a job, like that sounds awesome. Right? Like now I can actually go build something for myself rather than, spend my time doing for something else. And one of the other things that you said that I found was really interesting was a growth mindset and how entrepreneurs have a growth mindset. Well, growth is like the most natural thing in the world. Like we're always growing, but all of us, most of us at least, we kind of stay comfortable and we resist this growth. But even in nature, right? Like everything in nature is, trees are always growing. Animals are always aging. Like everything is always growing. We should just keep up with what is naturally us instead of resisting it and pushing ourselves down. Because that's what we're doing when we don't go after our dreams or we don't go after the things that we want to do. We're literally resisting the natural change that's always happening.
If you aren't growing, what are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And when I thought of that, it was like, when I was on stage and when I asked Gary Vee for the internship, 1,000 thoughts were going through my mind. My heart was racing. And the thing that was going through my mind the most was the fact that maybe he's going to say no.
Yeah.
And I was like, so what? Like, what do I have to lose? He didn't know me before and he won't know me after. Like, what do I have to lose? There's nothing to lose, right? It's like, I met a life coach this past summer, and she told me to go through this exercise. And the exercise was to tell myself, I have all the time in the world. So as an entrepreneur, as a human being, you always feel like you're always achieving something all the way up there. And here you are running towards it. You feel like you're a hamster on a wheel. And you're never going to get to this amazing thing at the end of the tunnel with the light. And you're just constantly running towards it. And there's always something that's going to stop you. And what really, like, that's true. Like, it's a thing. Like, you're always going to be running towards something. And you might never get there, but you're always running towards this amazing, crazy thing that you have in your mind. And what you told me is, you need to tell yourself, I have all the time in the world. You have to say that out loud and mean it. Because when you tell yourself that, you're really taking a step back and saying, it's okay. It's okay if I don't get to those emails tonight. Or it's okay if I don't, okay, maybe not delivering on a project, but it's okay if I'm like loose on a deadline maybe sometimes, right? Like, you need to give yourself that time, because if you're constantly on that hamster wheel, eventually you get tired, and that's where you hit burnout. A lot of people talk about burnout. And burnout is a real thing.
It's one of the biggest problems in the job force today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where all of the self-awareness, the growth mindset, and all of this really comes into play. That's to avoid burnout.
Yeah.
And you really have to think about that earlier on, and you really have to like start creating that in your mind. And one of the things that really helps with just managing your day overall is creating a mental model every morning. So this mental model is essentially how your day will go, and what you expect, and what you have in mind in terms of your priorities and goals for the day. I'm sure people have agendas, but like, if you pretty much base your day off of this mental model, whenever someone comes in and interjects like, hey, could you help me with this project or whatever, you could always say, hey, I don't have time for this. Maybe I can come back to you tomorrow. So you're not constantly reacting. You're actually reflecting, and you're actually delivering on the projects, and you're actually getting done what you need to every day. And that's how, like, I read this crazy story. This whole idea of mental models comes from a pilot, and he was flying a Boeing 777 for Singapore Airlines. And the airline pretty much, the engine broke on both sides, and like all the controls were not working. And he had to land this plane with a bunch of lives on board. And this pilot used to be a Cessna pilot. And a Cessna isn't as complex as a Boeing 777. It's very mechanical, and it's very mechanical. And you need to know a plane at its core in order to be able to pilot a Cessna. And what he did was he used his training from the Cessna on the Boeing 777, because he had those mental models in his brain of what needs to be done when a plane is malfunctioning, what happens when an engine is not working. And he landed that 777 based on the mental model from the Cessna. And like, that was just incredible. Psychology classes and like aviation schools teach this idea all the time. And it's helped me in my day-to-day life.
So do you create a mental model every morning?
Yeah, I create a mental model of like who I'm going to meet, what I expect to have, like how I expect these conversations to go, how I expect my meetings to go, nice. What I plan to accomplish out of those meetings, or what the end goal is of the day and what I really want to accomplish at the end of the day. And that's not saying like some things will happen, but like you want to have a general idea that you could build.
Yeah, man. And even if not all those things happen, like the fact of the matter is that you have this model of how you're going to go about your day. And then you have some direction that's going to pull you throughout your entire day with actual, with knowledge of what you're going to be spending your time doing. So you're not just going all over the place. That happens to so many people where even like entrepreneurs, especially where we have so many things that we have to do, like we just get caught up in this and this and this and this and this and this. And we don't like ground ourselves down and really think about what we got to do. But I love the idea of a mental model, because that could really help you do that.
Well, and that's learning to say no, is right? That because when you have this mental model or a map of the day planned out for yourself, and you know the things that have to be done, you can confidently say no to things.
Yeah.
And saying no is just as important as saying yes.
Yeah.
And oftentimes more, to be actually honest with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because taking on that extra project might just look like 15 minutes until it turns into an hour, and then it turns into a day, and then it turns into your life. And then when you're not delivering on all the other projects, and then you're like, oh, where am I? And why am I here?
It would be kind of cool to have a emotional model too, where you model off exactly how you really want to be feeling this day. So any negativity comes into your life and you're like, well, that's not my emotional model. Why would I get into that negativity if that's not what I've already created for myself?
Absolutely. It's like a map, right?
Yeah.
It's like creating a map for yourself for the day. How do you navigate your day? It's like Google Maps for your day.
Yeah. Cool, man. Cool. Well, Abhi, time flew by, but we're getting close to the hour mark here. Is there any closing remarks and thoughts that you want to leave with the young viewers that are watching this right now?
Really step out of your comfort zone. I know a lot of people will tell all the young kids to step out of their comfort zone, but like cliches exist for a reason because they've worked for 1,000 people in the past and they will work for 1,000 more people in the future. So it really is getting out of your comfort zone, putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, going and living with the 5 guys in an apartment and living in the living room, or going in front of Gary Vee, in front of a crowd of 1,500 people and asking the question, hey, can I intern with you? Or whether it's like just starting your first company and making that cold call. It's really a matter of stepping out of your comfort zone and being able to do that. And the only way you can do that is really by having a vision and a mission for yourself. So in business school, you'll learn about visions and missions for corporate and companies. But who actually has a vision and a mission for themselves? And once you start, yeah, exactly. Most entrepreneurs do, right? And not many people have that mindset, because once you build that vision and mission for yourself, then you have goals that you want to achieve and you have things that you want to get through. And that really helps you navigate through your day-to-day life. And it's like also in the scientific method, as a science major, we learn about the scientific method, about questioning why, having a hypothesis. Why not question why about your life?
Yeah.
Like you do all these science experiments, but why not question why about your life, right?
Yeah.
And it's such an important message to hit home. And like I tell my friends this all the time, and that's what I'm telling you. Just question why, have a vision and mission for yourself, and step out of your comfort zone and be the best version of yourself.
Incredible. Man, thank you so much, brother, for coming on the show. I just want to say, man, like you're 19 and you are absolutely killing the game, dude. And just the amount of like wisdom that you have to share right now and the energy that you have and the things that you've already done, like good for you, man. And I believe in you too. Hey,
I believe in you too. Young Pro Show is going to kill it. 100% believe in that. And you too, Matt.
Thanks so much. I love that, Abhi. And I, like I said, when I saw you the first time, I do believe in you. And I think you got a great head on your shoulders and you got a good idea of where you're taking your life. So keep focused on that. Don't let anybody distract you from it. Don't let anyone tell you no, and keep moving forward, my friend. And you're going to go some great places, and I look forward to cheering you on.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate your time.
Abhi, what was the URL for your blog again?
I don't have it up yet, but it will be amplifypositivity.com.
Okay, Amplify Positivity. We'll put it down below under the video. Guys, thank you for watching another episode of the Young Pro Show. Remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and stay up to date with the next episode and join a conversation that talks about what matters.